Hi guys, good to see you. So today I'm going to do something a little different. I mentioned in one of my earlier videos that I had recorded myself for 30 minutes and really just said everything that I wanted to say and, with no filter and ended up watching it and just kind of wondered, just kind of observed what I talked about. And one of the things that I mentioned in the video that I want to mention today, and there's a reason, is I was driving when I went to the graveyard, and maybe you guys saw the video with the graveyards, but I was driving through my old neighborhood, and I noticed that a lot of the land that beautiful land and forests that used to be there were all cut down, and it looks like they're going to build some more housing developments over there. But then I also noticed that there are buildings from forever ago, from years ago, like maybe even 10 years ago, of buildings that they built over in that general area. And these buildings are still empty. Maybe it wasn't 10 years ago, maybe it was more like 7. But these buildings are still empty, and nobody's even using them, but yet we keep tearing down land and putting buildings that just sit there and nobody uses them. So I wanted to bring this up today because I ended up getting an email. So my apartment where I used to live, there was a nice little natural forest area, just in between the apartments, and it was great, looking out of my balcony and seeing all these trees in the forest, and all the kids in the neighborhood. I mean, that was really like their only natural source of what real nature looks like, not like the artificial grass, that they pre-plant, and trees. I mean, of course they're natural, but I mean, these trees were originally, just grown where they were. And I appreciate things like that so much. The nature and natural, it's like a historical mark, and people really take that for granted. So, and the kids would go over there in the apartment that I lived in the complex that I lived in, and they would go over there and play, and that would just be their escape. And I got an email today because I did mention, so what they wanted to do with that land is they wanted to tear all of that down and put more apartments. And of course, what are you manifesting when you do that? You're manifesting more residents, you're residing more people, you're insinuating and making space for a higher population, more people getting pregnant, more people having kids, and there's nothing wrong with that, but like sometimes it can get out of control if we're not really focused on maintaining a healthy population. So building these apartment buildings are not only going to take away the tiny little space of nature that the kids in the complex had, which I feel is really important for them to be able to connect to that. But it's also, I mean, there's so many reasons why this is a bad idea. It gets really hot there in the summer, and sometimes, like the summers that I was there, I lived there for 3 years, so I mean, there were some really hot summers, and having the shade from those trees was nice, having the cool air, but now that will be gone and the apartments are going to be there, it's going to be devastatingly hot. The kids aren't going to have anywhere to play, besides the hot directly in the sun playground. I did mention to the city of Olympia to not tear down the land, to use it or conserve it or save it for something good for the community, but they decided in the end, and I didn't really go in and really fight for it a whole lot because I moved out of that apartment and I'm over here at my mom's. So, I didn't really put in a whole lot of energy. Just a couple of things. I do have, something in their permanent records, a statement in their permanent records. But yeah, the final decision was that they're going to tear down the land and build these apartment buildings, which is rather sad because, they're really taking away the only value there really is in that community, and not using it for something that the community can use. This is something that businesses can use. They can use the profit of, the residents and the higher population, and, who the business is profiting from this, not the community, and not and Yeah, just not the community in general. The community is at a huge loss with this decision, and it's awful. It's terrible.